Hey, it's producer Parker, and today Nivens explores the mind of a trivia master with trivia host Harrison Schmidt. Harrison is a genius at working his trivia craft for all types of crowds. Listen in to hear the ins and outs of what it's like to be a trivia host on this episode of Kansas City with Jason Nivens. Brought to you by Border Brewing Company. The Prince of Possum Trot, the Mayor of Gullytown, a KC kid. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to Kansas City with Jason Nivens.
Stars are coming, ride, fetch my lightning ride.
Yeah, light up that dart, man.
That's for sure.
I want you to be as comfortable as possible.
This is you couldn't make it more comfortable.
As I hit you with them hard-hitting questions.
I'm sorry, it's hard journalism.
Why do you dream of your mother in her underwear?
I told you that confidence. No, it was cigarettes and a few beers around here. There's nothing else better.
Right. So I guess more than I know Parker will do it in the introduction or has done it in the introduction, but why don't you tell these folks who you are?
My name is Harrison Schmidt. I am a trivia host here at Border Brewing Company. I've been doing it for a little bit over 4 years.
So professional.
I know. What can I say?
I'm Harrison Schmidt.
People say it all the time. They say like, why do you? And it's kind of like, okay, when I was a kid, people always say like, why do you talk like a police officer? Because I'm like, I don't know. Because I have to adopt a certain like way of speaking. Because if I don't know how else to talk. So
sure.
When I started doing this, I started doing trivia. You just take on the persona and you just do the announcer talk. I've had people I've never met be like, why do you talk like you're on a game show or a host of a game show?
But you kind of are.
Because I am.
Because you are.
You can't really turn it off because eventually you do it long enough, you just get caught up in it, and that's who you are.
So you've been doing trivia here at Border for how long?
A little over 4 years.
4 years.
I started in March. Actually, the very first day that I did trivia, the very first day we did it here, I got let go from my job. It was at a place, it was a business around the city. And they basically wanted me to do something that was like kind of very unsafe. And I was like, I don't feel good about this. And then like end of the day, I was getting ready to go home and get my trivia stuff. And I got a call and they were like, what happened? You just got let go. And I'm like, that's rad. That's so good. That's great. Thank you. I'm at my very first night of my own trivia thing. And I ended up going to the event and I was just like, I held it down so well.
Were you stressed?
Very much so. I was so stressed. It was like the first time, but I had done enough.
Wait, your first time being fired?
First time I was going to say.
I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now.
A few more and you get a free sub.
Yeah, exactly.
I had this moment where I was like, oh my God, this is a weird, bad serendipity, whatever the opposite of serendipity is. Cape Beckinsale. And then I was like, okay, I'm still going to go through it. And the night was phenomenal. It was so much fun. I had a lot of friends come out, and every night since then has been a blast. Like, I look forward to this every single week.
But you didn't start your quote unquote career in trivia here. You'd already been doing it for a while.
I played in Manhattan for years at this place called Annie Mae's.
Kansas.
Shout out Annie Mae's, Manhattan, Kansas.
Little Apple.
I had done it there for years. And then I moved to Kansas City and I got a part-time gig hosting trivia for a company, one of those like standard bar ones. It was okay, but I remember they would give you all the trivia. They'd give you an entire set and you'd just be reading through it. And I would just think like, this is terrible. Like some of these are 50-50 questions. Like that's not fun.
Right.
So I just started changing them. Like I would take some of the ones that they had and I'd be like, this is ass. I'll put in my own. And that's just how I began doing it. That was the origin of writing the trivia. And then, oh God, I mean, I did it for a few years. Pandemic happened. And then after it lessened, my best friend, Eric Jeans, shout out Eric Jeans, he started working here. And Eric Martin's owner, he also went to K-State. He played trivia at the same place that I had back in Manhattan. And he said, I want something just like that. And I was like, done. Like, that's what I want to do.
I think the first time I ever saw trivia in action that I can recall, because I lived in Manhattan, Kansas for a little over a year. I did radio up there, but I don't remember trivia there. I remember being in Atlanta working at a whiskey bar, and there was like a trivia night. And I was like, wait, what are you guys doing? They're like, we do trivia. We do it every week. And I'm like trivia? Like
questions?
Trivia Pursuit? Like Jeopardy?
You guys board games up here?
And I remember like the place filled out and going like, oh, this is something that people really like. They plan their whole kind of like week around. You know what I mean? Maybe not just trivia. Like maybe they have different things every day of the week.
In a way, they do.
It's very much because there's a lot of regulars that come through and all that. And that would have been probably early 2000s that I was there. how long is trivia, or what was the guy from the Northeast called it when he came in from, I think, Boston? He called it Quizzo?
In the UK, they call it quiz or pub quiz.
In the UK,
in the UK, that mainly because it started in the UK. More prevalent, the trivia that we know in the United States didn't start that long ago. I was reading a book by Austin Rogers, Jeopardy fame, one of the highest winners of all time, and he helped to popularize. He has a New York trivia night, and he gave a little bit of backstory. It's been around for only a few decades, not that long at all.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty new, but in the UK, they call it pub quiz or quiz. So they'll be more specific about it.
Yeah.
But it's more about little tidbits of like information, like kind of like weird facts. Whereas American trivia has kind of evolved into a form of quiz bowl. It's like, what do you know? Here's subjects. It's closer to that. It's not weird little details. It's everything.
So are there basic categories in sports, religion, politics, geography, music? Music's the one you guys always come to me for. So I feel like I'm pulling my weight right there.
I feel bad about that too, because it's like, it sucks as a trivia guy. Because people are like, every time somebody brings up something and I don't know it, there's like, you should know that trivia guy.
Yeah,
I'm doing that. I'm creating you as a music guy. I'm like, why did you know that music guy?
Yeah.
Do the music thing.
Right.
And I realize it. I think, oh, that's the same thing that happens to me.
Yeah.
But the usual categories, like there's a lot of trivia theme nights, like a lot of places.
Like tonight, with what you're doing tonight, for example.
Tonight, I mean, I will usually pull from the standards. I'll have a music category, a little bit of movies, general knowledge. I love vocab because it's, across the board. It's just everybody knows vocab better than others in some ways. But it's kind of a universal category. But I try to be able to mix it up enough to keep it fresh, get enough interest. Like, I'm like, oh, I know this team right here. Like, they show up. I know they love pop culture. This team shows up. That's a weird history buff guy. All these different groups come.
So you recognize some faces
week
in and week out.
Yes. Oh, I will. Names no. Faces. I will see. I will see a player or a whole team that shows up, and I'm like, I know what they want.
Okay.
Even if I haven't seen them, I can kind of like make kind of a little bit of a like assumption, like a bunch of dudes wearing like Spurs jerseys. I'm like, okay,
sure.
Let's dust off the sports trivia and try and pull this out and hope that it's passable.
Just the fact you knew the Spurs is impressive.
Thank you. I was about to say you've reached the end of my knowledge.
Like, this motherfucker just say Spurs. Okay.
Genuinely, it is.
So how does what you like? So your format is you just ask questions and people shout them out, or they write them on a board, they write it on a paper. How does that work?
So the standard bar format is, here's a question, here's a song, 3 minutes, give me a slip of paper. At the end of it, I'll announce the answer, and then we'll do this for the rest of the night, and then kind of a final thing. That's like standard bar format. What I do is what's adopted from, Annie Mae's, where I got it from. They've been doing it. There's a guy named Jeff Cruiser. He's been doing it for about 20 years now. And they got it. I actually don't know where they got it, but in Kansas City, there is a place that had done it in the early 2000s. It was Record Bar. And they had done it for a while. There's a longtime host, but he just stopped doing it after X number of years because it's a lot. You have to write about 4 times as many questions as a regular trivia night, and it can wear down on you.
I don't think I've ever seen you in here or any other establishment not doing trivia.
I love it.
Like, it's very much your thing.
It sucks when you have an idea, you have a thought, and you're like, oh, this would work so well, and you're not able to write it down immediately because, as we discussed, the memory,
sure,
you will lose it. So I like having it with me at all times, so I can be like, oh, here we go.
Right.
This is saved. So I love always working on it, and I can transition back and forth between day job and night job pretty easily.
So how does also what you do compare to like a Geeks Who Drink? Because that's kind of the big one.
We hear that a lot. That's a common conversation that people have. It's the idea that Geeks Who Drink is,
because that's been around for a while.
It's been around
that
for a bit.
That might have been the one that was in Atlanta when I was back there.
I'm curious. Right? I wish I would have Googled this before this.
Yeah.
I even thought about it. I was like, I should look up when Geeks Who Drink came around. If I had to guess, I'd probably say I started seeing it, I don't know, like early 2010s.
Yeah, the branding's really on point. They did a great job.
They're phenomenal branding. They actually have a daily game called Thrice. Phenomenal, good daily online game where you can play 5 questions. But the common complaint with that, with a Geeks Who Drinks format, is that it's obviously a lot of pop culture, a lot of movies. It's a lot of, they know to go for, the most popular subjects. They go for Marvel. They go for the things that are hot right now.
Sure, Star Wars,
the big things. And a lot of people will go to that and then they'll come to me and they'll say like, hey, like, oh man, all we had was this one Geeks Who Drink trivia or whatever. And we just didn't care for it. And yours is so fun and effusive in praise. And I can't take a compliment, so it kills me. It's like my skin's on fire. But it shows how having a varied number of subjects and kind of a style that encourages knowing a little bit of everything.
Sure, yeah.
Because a lot of people will say, I know this or I know that, but the standard bar trivia that I go to doesn't ever focus on it. It never even brings it up.
Yeah.
So I think about that every time and I say, I want to have this varied as I can.
You had a book for a long time, a Ken Jennings book. It was the size of an Encyclopedia Britannica. For those that are old like me, that remember those big sons of bitches. You got through that whole thing.
We had
how many pages was that?
Oh God!
Did you ever look at the pages?
I think I did. It was like 600 or 700, maybe. It was a big one. I could be wrong, but it was just like that thick, and it was connections, and it was connections.
Yeah.
And I'd bring it everywhere. Like by the first 2 months, I had torn the top and the bottom cover of the book off just because it was all the time. I'd bring it out, whip it out of the bar. You could bring it to any place.
You were like a preacher with his Bible.
It was genuinely.
You know what I mean? You were like highlighting shit, writing notes down. Jesus says this right here.
It was. I would bring it out. I get excited because people would be like, there'd be people. I would show up to a bar sometimes. Like I'd come here where I know a lot of folks.
Right.
Then I'd go to a place where I didn't know a lot of folks, and I'd sit down, especially at like a bar like a Divey place.
Yeah.
And somebody would come up and be like, "Hey, like, are you studying for something?" And I'd be like, "No, it's trivia." And they'd be like, "Oh, kind of like what's his lunch money?" And I would be like, "Well, let me ask you this." And I'd ask them a question that, I think they'd be able to know.
Yeah.
And they would just get engaged. They would go from like, "What is this?" to like, "Oh man," I would leave the book and I'd be like, "You can work on it." And I would just go to the bathroom. I'd come back and there'd be like two more guys sitting around the book being like, "Oh yeah, I think this is it. Oh, 100%. Yeah, Fiji. Write it down." And that's why I love doing trivia, because I like getting people excited. Yeah. Triggering that part of the mind.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last night. Like it's almost in a way, I don't know if childlike is the right way to put it.
I think childlike's fine.
But I mean, it's play. And I've seen it. I've seen literally grown adults 4 or 5 seats down the bar leaning over attentively, being like, "No, it's a cat. He's talking about a cat.
I know.
It's a cat." And you're like, "What? Oh my God."
Those are the moments.
And then they pick up their shit and slide down the bar like, "Sorry, I got to listen because I'm like, what is going on right now?"
Those are the moments I live for. I'll be knee deep in a question with another team over here, and I will see that happen on the other side. It just gets me it fills my heart to be like, there's a couple sitting at the end of the bar, kind of quietly dicking around their phones, and then they hear something. He's like, the wife, I'm like, "Oh," the guy's like, "Oh, I know that." And then they start kind of looking at me, and then maybe they wave, and I do like "Hey, if you want to jump in, you can. You can do it." And I start doing that, and they get engaged. And that's how I've gotten a lot of my teams. It's just, "Hey, you want to join?"
It's a great way to meet people in a pub, huh?
Oh, I've had
fellas, if you're looking for a pickup line.
I've had relationships start here. I don't know if they've ended here, but I've had. I remember there was a team. We had a first date that showed up here, and they got first place. It was a duo, which is pretty rare.
That's tough.
It's hard.
I tried it last week, and I think I came in 6th place.
You guys did pretty well. You guys did pretty good.
I had to walk home because it was a long night.
I love the fact that it, like you said, play childlike. You're right about childlike.
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, we have play. As an adult, you don't do it as much. Our joy comes from other things. And you realize when you host trivia so much, it's the same thing as play.
It is almost like being on a playground without like pulling a muscle. You know what I mean? Or like trying to fit down a tube slide when it's like, "Oh, this isn't what it used to be."
It's a little more accessible than the hot asphalt.
So when you talked about online stuff. So is there, like I said, I've always seen you with trivia, either with a book, different books that are out there. Which when you go to a bookstore, is there literally a trivia section?
Not always. There's a game section. A lot of crosswords or like word search.
Sudoku or whatever.
A lot of Sudoku.
Yeah.
Then you'll find every once in a while. That's where I got the Ken Jennings book. Raven Books in Lawrence. Just found it there. And you start looking online. It's a good resource to mostly give you inspiration. Sometimes the questions are good. Sometimes it's just sort through and be like, this is good content I can take later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then but then online stuff. So you play daily online too?
I've gotten to the point. It's funny. I'm talking with another.
So reason why we called you here today is because we're going to have an intervention.
It feels that way. I was talking to a friend of mine about my hobbies, and I was like, it's funny. Almost all of my hobbies have been superseded by trivia recently because it's true. I play a daily game. We share results. We do like a geography game. I do this pretty much every day, but I'm not upset by it because it's about everything. You're learning about everything. You're triggering your mind, and you're able to play with other people. It makes me happy.
And I know we talked about here at Border, but you also got a gig in Kansas City and North Kansas City in the Iron District that just started
that
up.
last week.
I know you've done like once a month at like places like Woodyard Barbecue.
Woodyard's very good. Woodyard's solid.
And you've got a couple other. I mean, you have other kind of like one-off. I don't want to call them one-offs. Once a month, maybe once a month.
I call them one-offs.
One-offs, yeah.
It's like
monthly one-offs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have the only consistent ones I have are here, Iron District on Thursdays, 6:30 to 9, and then the Woodyard about monthly, which is phenomenal. Love that. Great crowd, high energy. Those are the most fun people. But I do a lot of company parties.
Yeah,
those are the best because companies will say, "Hey, we have a Christmas party. Normally, we just do like a Yankee swap or something, but this time we want something fun." And I will go there, and I don't like to hype my own thing, but. Yeah. I mean, every time they come to me and they're like, that was so much fun. Like people had a blast, people got excited, and it just, it makes me so happy.
Do you think it's kind of like when they talk about their company parties, like, oh, a trivia guy's coming, where it's almost like a little backhanded compliment, like, oh, great, we're gonna have a trivia guy.
Always.
What is that? It's like you're one rung above the balloon animal guy.
Genuinely,
which that guy's badass.
I know. I was gonna say, no, not shitting on balloon animal guys.
Yeah.
Literally every single time. Every single time.
It's like rodeo clowns, balloon animal guy, trivia. You know?
I actually had
all tough positions to have.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
I genuinely had an event. I think it was a couple months ago where I got sent an email because I asked them like, "Hey, where did you hear about me from?" And they kind of sent me this email chain of them talking about the events. And one of the things they said was the short list was, we have this guy we heard about who does trivia. His name is Harrison. And the other one was a guy who does close-up magic. It was just like, I'm glad I'm among good company.
Dude, magic's awesome.
Magic's awesome. Not gonna shit on magic.
My sister-in-law's father is a magician for many years. And last season I had to kind of toot this past episode in an interview with him. And he didn't realize that Houdini's first time upside down in a straitjacket was in Kansas City off 10th and Main.
You were mentioning that. I remember
there's something coming up about that later on this year, which is going to be really cool to follow back up with.
I'm still excited about that.
Dude,
I remember.
So I've seen it. I don't know if I can say anything about it, so I'm just going to kind of wait. But it's going to be really cool, and I'm really excited for that.
I was driving downtown, and I think I was looking around. I was like, I think this is a place that Nivens specifically mentioned was the location.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat.
I love it.
So, how? I guess I think for like a lot of people, like, how do you come up with your questions? You know what I mean?
That's a very good question.
And also your categories, right? Because before we started filming, we were joking around about what was it, Hollyweird in Kansas City?
Yep. You know, like people in Kansas City who are noteworthy, people who grew up here, people who died here, people had any different association with the city. That's how you do it.
You know, the last performance of Patsy Cline was in Kansas City. The last perforance live,
the Saints and Sailors Memorial.
Lane Staley was Alice in Chains opening for Kiss at Kemper. You know, I'd ask you off air if you knew what music video was filmed in downtown on Main Street, now where the fancy apartments are off of 20th and Main.
It was a metal. I think
it was a metal band. It was. This was back in the '90s when downtown was desolate and bare.
They're like, this
and
is a great spot.
That motel that got turned into fancy apartments. Ministry. You know, Al Jorgensen and Ministry filmed a music video in Kansas City.
That's when you have the question about how you come up with it. You just hear that. Somebody says that. You hear somebody say, oh, did you know Ministry filmed a music video here? And your brain, before you do it, you're just like, okay, that's all right. But you just immediately dismiss it. But once you start writing and you start thinking, like, this is something I want to remember, you just retain everything. And it works great. I have to write things down immediately because I'll lose it. But
you also have a voice recorder.
I did. I bought a.
And you keep notes about shit you hear at the bar.
Everything I write down. It's funny. In school, I did not take notes. I was one of the kids that put his papers directly into his backpack. I don't know how I'm not in prison, but I now, as an adult, can record everything. I record fun things my friends say. I record every thought, even just individual words. Like, oh, that's a fun word. Write it down because I could use it.
Chiefly. I said it the other day to you, and you're like, God, that's.
I know, I did. It's my beer tonight. You have to take every thought that you have. It sounds exhausting, it kind of is, but you write down everything that you have, because even if you don't have a thought or like a trivia question for it now, you can make it up later. Because it's hard to sit and be like, okay, let's create questions about everything in the world. But when you're going through your daily life, if you just write down the things you encounter, you can later take it and then turn it into questions.
What trivia questions don't you like?
Thank you for asking.
Birds.
Birds are fine. I love birds.
Fuck about birds.
I love birds. Pacific Islands are tough. That's a hard one. I don't know the Pacific Islands very well. I don't like questions that 50-50 or multiple choice. Not fun. It's not engaging. I like ones that the best way to word a question, like what I've learned from doing it for a while and reading a lot of books about it, is you want to have something that someone already knows about, like a subject, a term, a topic, whatever. They're already aware of it. They know what it is, but they don't know certain facts about it. It doesn't matter if it's important, but you start with this little factoid about this subject, and then eventually, the wording is important, you bleed into the meat of the question, like the actual what it is. So they're listening to the question, and they eventually are like, oh, like you have that spark, the moment where it hits, and they say, I know what it is.
Right.
And that's the best way to do it. That's like, it's what gets people the most engaged. We can see like the kind of trigger moment.
Yeah.
Try to go for it. Because if you ask too early on, if you're just like, this California funk rock group, you're like, okay, that's the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Sure.
But if you end with details like that, but you start with a detail you may not have known, it gives people the chance to think it over and then to say, oh, there's the hint.
Right.
That's the little that gets it going.
Because I think if I remember from working alongside of you, meaning bartending when you're doing it, but also playing it last week, a lot of the early questions are kind of layups. It's
first gear.
Is first gear. So that's
First
just
gear.
to make the audience sort of like relax and engage.
It is. You have to do it. If you don't, I know sometimes there'll be a question. It's that little area. It's kind of like a driving.
Foreplay.
It is.
It's foreplay.
We can
Trivia foreplay.
Let's get as many metaphors as we can in here. Just throw them all in.
Yeah.
It's like
warming up. It's calisthenics.
It's like a stick shift. The hardest time is going into first because you're like, okay, this is the trickiest part. You have to be able to have a question that's not insultingly easy, but enough to be able to get it going. But once you're past the first couple questions, then you can start hitting a little bit harder. People are understanding. Nobody likes to be able to get something wrong on a first question.
Right.
That's not fun. You're doing your job wrong.
Right.
I mean, there's some players that unfortunately aren't as good, and they're going to get it. Happens.
Sure.
You can't fight that.
Yeah.
But if you can get that first gear and second gear, once you're past those, you're cruising.
So it's warming them up and then getting it going. Do you dream about trivia?
I genuinely have.
Are there moments when you've woken up and been like, oh, I thought that was real?
I've had moments where I'll wake up and I'll have usually just like a single word or like an idea or like something that I've been thinking about, which I've already been thinking about it. So I don't need to. I usually don't have anything super new, but I will have times you wake up and you're just like, oh, I mean, it's like if you do something long enough, you start dreaming. I remember I played a computer game in the late 90s so much that I ended up dreaming about it. I do it with trivia to the extent that even when you're not thinking about it, you're always thinking about it. Yeah. It's fun.
I think one of the things that I liked last week, and I
please.
The song lyrics from English to like French to Portuguese to German.
Oh, my favorite.
To like Swiss, then like back to English.
I put it through Google Translate through like 6 different languages and then just return it to English and then you just read this garbled nonsense. It's so fun.
It is wild.
People love it.
How did you come up with that?
I remember did you steal that? There was an article I saw about how well Google Translate actually does work. It talked about how different languages, sometimes like one language to the other, is easier than, for instance, a different language to the same language. And I thought, well, if you were to do that with song lyrics, what would you be able to get if you kept hopping around these disparate languages?
Yeah.
Because if you go from like Romance languages around, it kind of stays the same. But if you hop over to a distant one and then bring it back, it's going to be way different. It's, oh, God. I think often you can ask questions. It's like, I'm quizzing you. I'm trying to be able to make you know, or I'm trying to see if you know this. But what I always try to achieve is this also fun?
Yeah.
Like, are you having fun with this? I like the questions where it's the best question you could possibly do is one that engages you, makes you think critically. It's something you may not even known about, but it's also funny or fun or kind of makes you like laugh. That is the best question.
So in a way, you are a game show host and a stand-up comedian at the same time.
Oh, it is.
You're writing jokes in a way, but trying to deliver them as naturally as possible without looking like,
formulaic.
Right.
Yeah. I will write notes inside of my little questions, or I'll be like, bring up this little point, or here's a fun little detail. I will write jokes inside of it sometimes, not all the time. A lot of it's off the cuff.
Sure.
But exactly.
Yeah,
half the compliments that I get are because people say like, the trivia is good, but also like you do the little bits, the jokes, the kind of play with the crowd. It is stand up and it's also quiz.
Well, but it's also interactive stand up because that's the one thing I've noticed is a lot of like, if you're in first place, everybody, all the other teams, whether it's 5 teams, 8 teams, 12 teams, they're all shooting arrows.
They're gunning for you. They're gunning.
God, every one of them talks shit on him.
I had this one.
Every one of them. And in first place, boo!
I have a tradition.
Boo that man!
We've established a tradition where every team, once I read off the halftime scores and before the final question, whoever's in first place, we boo them vehemently because, nobody likes a winner. We're like, hey, we're an underdog group here, but we're still friendly enough.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to make sure that every team feels like they have a shot.
Right.
Because a lot of trivia is the standard format, which you mentioned before. It's just everyone has the same questions, and there's teams that can just run up the score. Like, it's just going to go all the way up, and there's no chance for the other guys. This format is nice because it gives a mixed option.
Yeah.
You will have way more diversity in who gets first place. Every other night, it's the standard ones. You'll see the same team winning 70% of the time.
Really?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, because you have steal options in what you do. You can steal.
Mm-hmm. So we
points.
do like each team has a chance to answer. You get to pick a category. I read you the first question from that category. If you get it right, you get 100 points. But if not, every other team has a chance to steal. Okay. So it allows other teams to be able to still be engaged. Like, even though it's not their question, they're kind of like listening in the background, being like, oh, yeah, maybe they don't know this.
Right.
And then the moment you hear them say a wrong answer, those teams start just writing on their whiteboards because they're excited. And there's ability to smack, which is where if it's like a team has a question and either they don't know it or they think another team doesn't know it, they can choose any other team to be like, now it's your question.
Okay.
And if they get it wrong, they get 200 points. The smacking team does. If that team gets it right, the team gets 100 points.
Yeah, sure.
So also incentivize that. And also it helps the teams that aren't as good because they get smacked more often, which means they get more opportunities at questions.
Sure.
It's a good format. It's a lot of details. I would love to see it be the only format of trivia, but it's a lot of work. It's not complaining, but it's
I mean, again, I don't think I've ever not seen you. I don't think I've ever just seen you saunter in being like, hello, chaps.
What's up, gang?
Just hanging out.
Hello, friends. How are we doing?
Good time.
Wait for questions. I'm asking you 100 of them. I like it. Every Wednesday, it's like the middle point of my week. It's the big point that I just look forward to every single week. And I tell people all the time, I hope that every person could have some type of creative outlet. It doesn't need to be trivia. It could be anything where you create something. If you can sell it, good. If you can have people enjoy it that even better. I would love for every single person, and I think they would love it too, to be able to have that outlet.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite things. It makes me very happy.
You ever seen any fights?
There was one
legit fist fights.
No fist fights, but there's one time. It was right after a Chiefs game. I remember this.
That's a bad idea to have a trivia after a Chiefs game.
Genuinely, I'm telling you, we could sit here all night. After Chiefs games, especially ones that are earlier in the day, and people just keep drinking, especially if they lose.
Oh yeah,
and there's people that just show up like zombies, and they're hanging at the bar, and they're wearing the jersey, and they're just like kind of doing the whole sway, and they'll maybe decide to join and play, and they'll get one question wrong, and they're just staring daggers at you. There was this one guy, I remember it was a couple years ago, that was just like getting real aggressive. And there's this team that I barely knew them, but it was this big team that they had been showing up for a while. And a couple of them show up to me and they're just like, hey, like we saw this guy, like, don't worry about it. If he does anything, we got you. And I was like, I don't even know your names. And you already are like, hey, we will dodge. We'll jump in front of this bullet for you.
We'll kick his ass.
I know. And
oh my gosh.
No, it's, I will say the best thing about it, the players, the teams and how enthusiastic they are. And when there is a friendly team that's excited and they're not overly worried about, oh, we need to win, we need to do this. They're just having the most fun.
Having fun.
It's like
I want a playground.
I like it a lot to like a first date or a bowling. You go to bowling alley, you'll see the guys who are, sitting there with the glove and they're just like bowling and trying to hit. They hit a lot of strikes, but the ones they don't hit strikes, they get pissed off. And then you'll see a couple where like they gutter ball every other ball, but if they hit a strike, they lose their minds. Everyone's that's fun. I want to hang with those people.
Those people, yeah.
They make it good.
So if someone wants to hire you for a gig, how do they find you?
Thank you for asking. I am literally just ordered business cards like 2 days ago.
Love it.
So I got business cards, but my information is Harrison Schmidt, SCHMIDT, .com. You can email me at harrisonschmidt@icloud.com. And that's about it. Or just like find me on Instagram. It's my biochemical romance. I have changed it a few times based on different eras of my life.
Yeah.
But any one of those, reach out. I do company parties, any event, really anything.
You were at a church.
I did a church event. I did a church event recently, and it was so fun because it was all just parents. Because they're like, "Hey, guess what? We don't have our kids. We're gonna get hammered and play trivia."
Oh my god!
And they were really good.
Were they?
They were so good.
Really?
They were really good. I loved it. No, they were phenomenal crowd, and I loved.
Not that I don't think church people are gonna be good at trivia, but you kind of like. Really?
I think it's more because the parents are too busy raising kids. I'm like, you guys are also good at trivia.
Yeah.
So man, multifaceted. No, yes, any one of those, please feel free to. I will try. I will say Instagram might actually be the best one because. I need to get rid of a lot of spam emails, but I always
the Instagram is?
Oh, it's My Biochemical Romance on Instagram. Harrison Schmidt's the name. You can look either one up. I'll be on there. And I always love more opportunities. It makes me very happy, and I want to have as many games as possible. Just want to spread the good word, really. Cheers.
Once again, you can find Harrison, of course, over at Border Brewing on Wednesdays with his trivia. And then Thursdays, he's got a gig this summer and I think into the fall up at the Iron District in North Kansas City. So I thought it'd be fun to wrap up today's episode with a little Did You Know? And since we talked about trivia or Quizzo with Harrison, did you ever know about the game Hollywood Squares? Right? It's an American game show in which two contestants compete in a game of tic-tac-toe. You can see the people up there. They win cash and prizes. The show originally aired as a pilot on NBC in 1965, and then it debuted the following year and ran until 1980. It has also been rebooted a couple times since then because it's a pretty popular game show where it's a 3x3 vertical stack, open-faced cubes, each occupied by a celebrity, seated at a desk facing the contestants, and then the stars are asked questions by the host, and then the contestants judge the truth based on their answers to gain squares in the right pattern to win the game. Now, the original host is this cat right here, Peter Marshall, right? That was his stage name, as he was born Ralph Pierre Lecoq, and he went on to have 4 children. One of those guys was named Pete Lecoq, and Pete played for the Chicago Cubs and the Kansas City Royals. He's also the dad to a friend of mine. What's up, Nene? Fun fact about Pete. I love this one. In 1975, the only Grand Slam of his career was during the final pitching appearance of St. Louis Cardinals legendary pitcher Bob Gibson. What's up, Pete? So there you go. That is today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. As always, thank you very much to Parker for being the super producer. And again, who should we talk to next, guys? Maybe we can get Pete on. That'd be great. Pete, get on with your boy. KCJNmedia@gmail.com. That's KCJNmedia@gmail.com. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Kansas City with Jason Nivens. Hey, smash that like button and subscribe. We'll catch you next time.